Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. In this episode, we'll be going around the map and making sure that all of our cities are connected to each other by road in some capacity. Now, some of that might be very roundabout in the cases of Sacramento, Modesto, and Stockton, as it'd be pretty hard to get a road to cross this bay, but I think what we want to be able to do is at least have every place be accessible by private transportation. So if we take a look here at Jackson, we can see here destinations by private transport. That has about 3,500, and that's giving us a bonus to the city growth. Now there is a danger of doing this by allowing every city to be connected by roads, and that is that the residents of each city will essentially exploit that as much as possible to take the quickest route to cities, and this could lead to very large traffic issues that we sort of struggled with in our last playthrough, as if you don't have a connection already set up that the people think is faster by private transportation, then everyone traveling between those cities will take private transportation instead of your public transportation routes. So even though it'll be good to grow the cities, we will have to be careful about doing this and make sure we don't flood our map with traffic, which then will also negatively impact performance. So the easiest way to go about doing this is to just come to our destinations layer, and we can just leave it set to all. But all of the roads, or all the lines that you see are blue, is what's being traveled by private transportation, so just individuals in their cars. So you can sort of see what cities are already connected and how they're connected. So you can see Santa Clarita is connected to Scottsdale and Jackson by this road that comes through the cargo hub. It's also connected to Montgomery by this road here, and also Montgomery is connected to Jackson, Scottsdale by this road over here. So pretty much what we'll be doing is going around finding the little pockets that are already connected, and I think we'll go through and clean up the roads, upgrade them as needed, and then we can go around to other pockets, such as here with Sacramento and Stockton. They're connected by a road that we could probably connect to Modesto, which then we can sort of wrap around this bay and connect to this road. So then that will get those all connected, and that's pretty much the logic that we're going to be doing with this. Now that's just the base road connections, and I think we want to start getting a highway system, so we might also lay down the very beginnings of a highway network. Now that's going to be very tough in some cities as they've grown to be very well tucked into their surroundings, such as Santa Clarita here, so getting a good highway connection to the city might be a bit challenging, but we'll have to pretty much do with what we have. So let's get back into this by looking at our destinations layer, and I think our road between Santa Clarita and Scottsdale is pretty good, as we've pretty much built this road by ourselves. So that road's pretty upgraded and straightforward. There's not really any hiccups along the way. I think the one that we want to focus on is probably the one that connects Scottsdale to Montgomery and then Santa Clarita to Montgomery. So we'll want to straighten up and clean up those roads and then go from there. So starting here, we have this little weird connection that we made quite a while ago where we just went underground so that we could avoid having a road crossing at this railroad track intersection. I think what we could probably do now is grab this road, bring it around this way, and then at some point we'll just drag it along as a connection and raise it up so that we get a bridge over the tracks. So we can just very simply and quite easily add this connection in like so, So we get that nice and easy connection. And this road stays pretty much straight for the most part. I think we might simplify this area. This road doesn't really lead anywhere important, at least for us. So we'll delete this road all the way back to there. This dirt road comes all the way up in here, so we might leave that connection. But we really don't need it to be winding around all this much, so we'll come through. I guess we have a vehicle stuck on this road, so we'll quickly connect that back up. And we'll make sure that we do this all sort of in a row. We'll bring that back all the way until it gets to there at the steel mill. And then what we can do is very easily bring this straight through, give it a slight curve where it needs it, and then just connect up like so. So then we'll come through and smooth out the edges of this road quick, so it looks a little bit more in tune with its landscape. And that's not too terrible. And then we'll just connect this dirt road back up to this road. And I don't think there's really anything else left for us to do for this connection. It does get a little wavy here, but it's not excessive or to a degree where it would negatively affect the top speed. I mean, maybe here this could get toned down just a little bit, and we could just turn it into one smoother curve. Or maybe we have to come out first and then connect up like so. So you just get one curve now instead of a winding road. So that looks pretty good. So then the next connection we'll want to clean up is from Montgomery over to Santa Clarita. So pretty much this road that comes through our machines factory area. That's going to get a little tricky as this is taking some very populated roads, but I think we can make this work out. I think everything here is fine. This curve is all good. Coming through this little valley is fine. And I think it makes sense for it to wind up this hill as it's pretty steep incline. Now, one thing we might do is revise this to just be a four-way intersection. So I think what we'll do is delete this road starting back here, and we'll delete this one, and then we'll delete this road and this one all the way back until about there. So then what we can do is first we'll make this connection. So we'll want to bring this road up in a way where it's not too steep. But we can then just bring that sort of across like so. And then this road, we'll bring it back just a little bit more. We'll have it curve out a bit more, come back around, and then we'll pretty much just create a four-way intersection right through here. So I think maybe, well, that will give us a bridge, which, as much as that would look nice, it gets rid of some of our connections, so we're gonna have to sort of hold ourselves back from doing that. But pretty much what we'll do is curve back down the hill, connect to there, and then from that intersection, come back up and connect to this road here. So then we'll smooth out around the edge of the roads, and that don't look too bad. We should be able to let this play, and that connection should be a lot nicer. I don't think, yeah, this doesn't have a stoplight, so I'm not sure how the game's going to go about handling traffic at this intersection, but hopefully it's a lot more straightforward and simple for traffic to flow through here. So now coming back into our destinations tab, we can see those cities are all still connected, and those connections are much more straighter and make a lot more sense than they did before. So now what we can do is just go around and we can start adding cities to this connection. I think next we'll start with Birmingham. We'll connect that, bring it down, connect to this road somewhere, and then I think we'll link up these 3 cities, Modesto, Sacramento, and Stockton, and then we'll bring those sort of around this way and probably connect up to the Birmingham entrance somewhere near the cargo hub. So we can see we already have a road exiting the city from Birmingham, so really all it is upgrading this road. Well, I guess it could be fixed in some areas where we have the excessive turning, so we can fix that and come back through and upgrade this road, bring it down the hill. Now at this point there's 2 things we could do probably. We can either bridge across, connect to this road which will connect it to Santa Clarita, or we could bring it over this way and then connect one of these roads up to our cargo hub roads. I don't think either is too terrible, so I think we'll do both in preparation for that. So we'll upgrade this road, and then this just follows. We'll have to fix it, but then we get to this point, I'm not sure where we'll go from there, so we'll leave that end off as so. But then coming over this way, we can first of all clean up a lot of these roads. So we'll clean up this connection, and then I think right about here is where we're going to start to turn off. We'll slowly start to raise up, or maybe we'll go flat, and then we'll bridge across like so, raise this up maybe just a bit more. We'll get the concrete bridge and we'll just build it like that. So that should give us a nice connection right into Santa Clarita, and I'm not sure if the city recognizes it yet, but if we go into our destinations layer, we can see here some cars are already starting to recognize the connection between those 2 cities. So people are already starting to drive their cars that direction. Let's now work out this side, and I think we'll want to redo this bridge as it's a very old brick bridge from the very beginning of the game. So we'll raise it up just high enough for boats to get under, and then from there we can change it to whatever style of bridge that we want. So we'll go with this, select that, that looks pretty good, and then we can clean up the connection over here on this side of the river. So after looking at this for a little bit, I think the best way to go about this is to follow this road over this way, and then somewhere around here we'll branch off and connect up to this road, and this way we avoid all of the railroad crossings that we would get otherwise, so we wouldn't have to worry about traffic being stopped or anything like that. So then right around here we'll grab our road and just pretty much drag it along. I think we'll avoid this super tall hill over this way, and we'll try to sort of follow the edge of the hill. I think we can turn on our contour lines, and that'll give us a little bit better of an idea of where this road is going. So we can do that, and then this will be a pretty sharp curve, but we'll be able to keep it flat for the most part. And then we can cross this area. I think we will have to fill this in with land just because of how we did it before. But then from here, we will be cutting through this farm. but we should be able to then connect right up to this road down here. So we'll upgrade that, and that should be this connection made. So as we can see, we have a lot of people starting to take the road into Santa Clarita, and the one thing I'm starting to worry about is no one's decided to take this road to Jackson and Scottsdale yet, and that worries me because we don't want everyone to come through this way and through Santa Clarita if they want to get to Jackson and Scottsdale. So I think what's happening is they're valuing this connection to be shorter than the other connection. So somewhere along the way we're going to have to essentially make this distance a lot shorter through all of this. Alright, so after some cleaning up of the roads that head out this way towards Jackson and Scottsdale, we finally have some private transportation starting to use this, which is good. That means that this route is now shorter than the route it would be to go through Santa Clarita and then into there. So that should help with our traffic issues, or at least traffic issues that would arise from that situation. And now we can come through and connect Modesto, Sacramento, and Stockton over to this road somewhere, and those should then be connected to our network. So just taking a look here, it seems like the easiest way to connect the cities would be to have a road here connect into Modesto. However, we don't really want to do that because then all of the traffic from these two cities would be going through the city of Modesto to travel elsewhere across the map. So trying to figure out what we want to do will be tricky, since we probably don't want to send a bunch of private transportation through all of our farms, as that would hold up our trucks, and it's not really built up for speed, our connections through here. So maybe we just end up with an underground tunnel that comes through and then connects over here, and then we can use that to connect up to this road over somewhere this way. So I think the best way to go about this would be to come off of this road that we just built and work our way over to Modesto to see where we sort of end up, and then from there we can connect our connection here to that road and then Modesto up to that road. So we'll probably be starting here right off of this intersection. We'll upgrade this road, and I think we'll actually go this way. So we'll come over, and I think we'll just try to hug this cliff as much as we can. We'll turn on our contour lines so that we don't have some crazy roads coming through here. And then we'll pretty much just be following it all the way across this cliff face. Alright, so we were able to get this road coming across these cliffs, and we tried to keep it as level as possible, but of course some areas we did have to maybe bridge across or do some other things to get it to work. But I think this came out pretty nice through here. And you can see at the end we were able to connect up to Modesto. So now the question is where we're going to connect off of here and bring that underground and connect up to this road. So let's just start probably somewhere here, and we'll just drag this in. We will want to keep this pretty much flat, I think. So we'll do that. We get a nice tunnel entrance there. We'll start there and have this long tunnel to about there, where then we can slowly start to rise up, I think, until this point, where then we should be able to come across and create an intersection. Now we'll want to do this somewhere where it won't really mess up our landscape, so probably about there. And we will, I think, redo this road just so we get a smoother slope as we make this connection. So that don't look too bad. We'll smooth this whole area out. And over on this end, this tunnel entrance looks pretty good. And everything else, I think, should be connected up just fine. We will probably have to upgrade our connection to Stockton, so this road will upgrade from a dirt road all the way through. We'll clean up this weird little section. So like that. And now we finally have that connection made. Now one last thing I will do, even though it's not the best, is I think we will connect Modesto up on this end. So we'll bring this road out and around. We will make it a little bit longer to connect up, since we don't want people going through Modesto, so making this a little longer will change how they value the route pretty much. So maybe we'll just make this a 4-way intersection now. We can delete these roads. Actually, we should pause. So we'll turn that into a connection, and that right there. So then hopefully that'll work out just fine and not interrupt our food processing plant too much. But now we should be able to see already our destinations layer starting to populate with people traveling on these roads, some people coming in and out of Modesto, some people using this road, which proves that it is faster to come through this way than through the city. And we can see already people wanting to come on this road to and from Jackson and Scottsdale. Alright, so that's now this half of the map connected up to each other. So that's all good. Now we just have to connect up these 3 cities, San Jose, Winston-Salem, Albuquerque, and Mesa and Downey, to our larger road network. Let's just take a look first and see if there's any connections already. So as we can see, we don't already have any road connections between these cities over here. We do have a connection between San Jose, Downey, and Mesa, so maybe we could just continue this highway idea that we had all the way through down to San Jose. That might not be a bad idea. And then we would just have to figure out how to connect Winston-Salem and Albuquerque, and then we would connect those 2 networks with a road that would then connect to Jackson and Scottsdale somewhere. Now technically we do have a road connection here out of Stockton that comes around, follows this road, this little dirt road probably, all the way to Albuquerque, but I think the AI doesn't value it since it's such a long road connection. They pretty much have to go all the way around the map before they can get to Jackson and Scottsdale, that no one sees any value in that connection, so they all just prefer to take the train instead, which is perfectly fine. That's almost the goal of what we want to do. We want to make the roads, we want to make the private connections, but we want to make them just as inefficient as possible, to the point where our train network or our bus network is an easier route for them to take. So as we're coming through here, we're actually starting to see that we're having traffic issues coming into Downey. Now, this is probably because everyone from Mesa wants to come into Downey, and we only have this one street connection. So we definitely need to figure out how we're going to clean that up. So let's first delete this road, and we'll bring it up and connect it like so. I'm not sure if I want everyone coming in on this road, so maybe we'll just delete all of these connections, and then we'll come in with our road tools and we'll lock this road. so that the city can't just build a ton of streets right onto it. So that might help out a little bit there. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get a connection from this way as the elevation change is just too high. So maybe if we come back and delete all of this and we extend our highway idea that we had over here. So we grab our 4-lane country road, connect that up to this intersection, and then upgrade this to be an all 4-lane road, like so. Maybe we can bring some people in by road through this way. We'll just have to work our way up this hill. So we'll bring this up, we'll continue to bring it up, and eventually to the point where we'll need to delete this road a bit more. But then I think we should be able to connect there, and maybe that'll help. I'm not too sure. I think we could probably bring this road across more. We'll probably want to lock that in to be flat. And we do have a collision tile here, so that's why we're having an error. So we'll just click build anyway, since we know it's not conflicting with anything serious. And then from here we can try to maybe curve it around and connect up like so. So maybe that'll help with connections, maybe it won't. I'm not too sure, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens. I do think maybe another way we could help is by replacing these buses, and I guess these are already the fastest buses that we have available, and they're even the most powerful, so they should be pretty good. I think we just don't, I think private transportation is starting to be faster than our buses, so bus routes over long distances aren't getting used quite as much. Alright, so I think we might have come up with something to help us figure this out a bit more. We use the 5-lane asymmetric road so that we can have a bus lane that turns into the city and this private transportation lane that turns into the city. So hopefully that'll allow our buses a more direct route in through here so that they're not held up by traffic quite as much. And however, it does look like we are starting to build up some traffic that wants to leave the city. So we'll leave this problem for sort of another time. I think what we have now might work for the short term, but we will want to come in here and create more efficient connections through the city of Downey in the future. So anyway, continuing along with our highway that we wanted to build, we will come through here, and I think we'll delete those connections, come back with our 4-lane road, and we'll pretty much cut out this whole weird U-shaped loop that it does. We'll bring it pretty much up and alongside this hill here. We will want to keep it about level. Alright, so now this is the highway we have. Looks like we missed a little spot here, so we'll do that. Comes right along our oil well, and then up over this mountain so that we can avoid a railroad crossing. Sort of follows along the hill here, and right into our city of Downey and Mesa connection that we already have. Alright, so now the last two cities we need to connect up is Albuquerque and Winston-Salem, and I think one of the easiest ways we could do that is by coming off of this road here from Albuquerque. We'll probably have to use a tunnel since the space along the river is used for the train. So we'll have an intersection, come through here, maybe connect up to this road or something out here. And then from here, we'll have this road coming along the river where we can then connect up to San Jose and that road network. So let's prepare the roads for this. We will first of all upgrade the bridge. So we'll give it this. It looks like we're running into some issues here, so we'll just delete all of this. I think it gets too low, so let's just delete the entire thing. We'll rebuild it. So starting from the end of this bridge, we'll have it connect back up like so. So we'll make this turn a little bit sharper, like so. And then we should be able to connect up pretty easily. I think we'll delete that little ramp up there, just so we don't have to worry about that. And then do this. Maybe raise it a little bit to make it look a little more natural. And then make that connection. So from here, we'll branch off this way. And this is where we'll go underground and pop out over this way. Pretty much just drag this over to connect to that road. And then somewhere out here is where we'll branch off and avoid the city so we don't bring traffic through Winston-Salem. So now we have this road right along here that bypasses Winston-Salem from Albuquerque. Then we can upgrade this road, which follows the river. And we'll upgrade it all the way until somewhere over here. We'll have to redo a lot of these roads as they don't really make sense. So we'll delete this connection, this whole road. This road can get deleted. And then we'll drag this new connection. Well, maybe we could just keep this entirely separate. So we'll upgrade this road. And then what we want to do is, I think from this road, since this one sort of cuts through most of the city, we will pretty much just drag this across. And hopefully it doesn't look like we can build this. So we might have to do some restructuring through the city. We might have to get rid of these roads here, which is fine for the most part. We'll delete that, and then from here we should now be able to cross the river pretty easily. So much like before, we don't have ships coming through here, but we can make this just tall enough to allow ships in case if we end up with some port on this end of San Jose. Not too sure why that would happen, but now we can make this connection, turn it around so it connects to this road. And if we let this play, give it a little bit of time, we should see that all of this is connected now. So after waiting a little bit, we can see our destination lines starting to pop up on these roads. And that just goes to show that it's working. This highway here is starting to get a pretty large number, so that's good. I think this is still blue because there's people that got stuck on that road. We can see this road is actually working a little bit, so that might help to ease this intersection. Not too much, but maybe just a little bit. And I think that might be all the connections we need to make. Now, I'm not sure if I want to make just a regular road connection through all of this to get to Jackson and Scottsdale. I think once we create our larger highway network, that might be what connects these 5 cities over here to these cities on this side. So we'll have a nice large highway that comes through this little opening between everything, since we really just connected these cities with large country roads. And although those will act as highways for short distances, I think we should get a proper highway that sort of follows along our main set of tracks here so that we can sort of get some express private transportation running along through the map. Alright, so now that we have all of our connections made, I want to make sure that we can keep up with it through our main transportation hub. So we looked at this a little bit last episode and how we're starting to push the limits of the capacity of this station. So I think what we need to do is just demolish it, get a much bigger, much larger one that suits the area, and so hopefully then we won't ever have to upgrade the capacity on it again in the future. So hopefully we can get something to fit in this space. We don't have to tear down this whole hill here, but let's pause as this is probably going to break a lot of things deleting it. We'll come through, smooth all of this, and then we'll fix the train after it's placed. Grab our train station building. We want this to be quite large, so I think we want... Let's go with 8 tracks, and then we'll get rid of them just so we can get this large station building there. So then we'll have to line this back up with the road. So now this is pretty much a fully maxed out passenger station that we're going to be placing in here. We'll get this about as close to the road as we can. We do have our old collision tiles in here, so that's probably why we're getting that collision error. But as long as it's not colliding with the road, we should be good. So we'll make sure, I believe it's centered on the road. Right click to place. And now this should work. So let's configure this. We'll delete these. We'll delete all this over here. I think we might try to go for a slightly asymmetric look as we have our main bus station over here, so maybe we'll just have these small entrance buildings over here, and this will be sort of a plaza. And then over here we can continue to add some of these large buildings. Maybe we'll drop down to a medium building. So then this can all sort of be maybe another plaza or drop-off area. So then what we'll do is we'll add this medium building here. Or actually, let's delete it. Let's get the small building placed right there. We'll get some of these in. And then I think from here we'll get... I think we have just enough space for 2 medium buildings again. Alright, so this is what our station is going to look like here. Let's get our tracks connected back up, and it looks like everything's shifted over because we now have these much larger buildings in here. So we are going to have to pull these tracks back a good bit farther so that we can continue to get a smooth curve as it comes into the station. So maybe one more. That might be good. So let's first get these tracks connecting to the station. I don't like how it needs to slow down there. So maybe just a bit more. Hopefully we can get it to come under this bridge. So that brings the slowdown to 122 over here. Have to bring this back just a bit more. Let's see what this will look like now. So now this stays all the way up at 186 miles an hour the whole way, which is exactly what we want. Hopefully we can bring this second track through here just fine. And we'll come back and redo this bridge so that the peak is still over the tracks there. But then from here, we'll come out a little bit. Actually, we need to come out far enough so that they can have a crossover. So we'll put in a crossover here, and here. And then the same thing on the other set, right here, and here. And then all we have to do is connect these tracks back together, which will bring these in probably one length. And so we can connect it like so, and get this second set right in along next to it. So we'll just redo our signals over here. I believe we had another set of signals right about there, and then one right before this. I believe that's how we had it. If not, we'll come back and tweak it. And then as for this side, where this gets a little more complicated, we're gonna have to pull these tracks back even more. It looks like there's some weird terrain stuff, so we'll just smooth that out quick. I think we'll have to come back pretty far on these tracks to get this to flow smoothly into the station. So I think all the way back to about here. Let's take a look if we grab these tracks. So now we can keep this high speed all the way through. Connect everything up, and then we should be good. Alright, so I think now all of these signals should work. Took us a while to redo this area, but looks like there's still one issue that we have. Alright, so I think we cleared all the issues. We just had to set the Jackson to Montgomery line properly. But now we have to come through and set all of these terminals properly so that they have access to all of these different platforms. And then from there, everything should run smoothly again. Alright, so everything should be set properly here now. You can see we have multiple lines on each one of our platforms. So we have about 2 lines for each platform, except for maybe one of these we'll just switch over. The Jackson Albuquerque line also shares platform 1. We'll just double check here. Everything still looks right. And now if we hit play, hopefully this should function as it did before properly, and all of our trains should be able to flow in and out of here no problem. So it seems like it took a bit for the trains to reroute and get back here, but I don't see any issues with the trains that are coming in and out of here now. So hopefully there won't be any issues. So now let's get a little bit of detailing done here. It's not going to be much really. We'll probably just match the asphalt so this looks a little more like a plaza area. We might reconfigure this to have some buildings next to these buildings, and really that'll be all it is. And we'll make sure that buildings aren't getting built in this area as well. So first let's come in here, configure this bus station. We'll get rid of that passenger building, and we'll get that placed back in right here. We'll get these two right alongside the train station, so then we can get rid of those 2 buildings. And now the tricky part that we have to deal with now is flattening out the terrain, as I think it gets a little bit weird over here. There's a bit of a terrain change between the road and the bus station and everything. So we'll just leave that, find our asphalt, and I think we'll paint it all asphalt too, just because I like the look of that a little better. So we'll just pretty much paint this entire area, paint over the existing train station connections, all of this all the way over, and then to about this edge over here. Alright, so here's our new train station area. You can see we made this sort of like a plaza area with a fountain, some trees, a few benches, and it's nothing really too big, just something to sort of look at as they walk by or walk through here. We don't have any connections to the street directly here, so people aren't really going to be walking through here. They'll mostly be coming into the main building, as you can see here. But I think we'll leave this side mostly empty. We might come in and add some planters later on, but other than that, let's get our collision tile in so that these buildings, the cities don't build their buildings right in front of the train station here. So then we'll just come through and lower this into the ground far enough to where we can't see it. Right click to place it. And it looks like the city was able to get one in here, but hopefully if we delete these trees and everything, it didn't get rid of too much, so we just have to come back through, find those trees that we placed before, and just get those placed right back into these planters. But hopefully now we can see all the people starting to flood back into this station. We can see our increased capacity. I think we improved the capacity of the station buildings by almost 500. So hopefully that'll help out a lot more with getting people in and out of here. And of course, connecting up to more platforms will definitely help as we continue to grow. But anyway, I think that's going to be all that we're going to do in this video. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.